Dun, dun. Hello! It's Cybertruck delivery day. Did you know that it was going to happen? I don't know if I actually expected it to happen. I saw somebody on the blue sky saying that he was going to stick a cactus up his bum if Cybertrucks were delivered this year. So there might be some people having to eat some of their words. But speaking of words, Craig Cole is here. Everybody's favorites.
I don't know about that.
Something. Well,
I'm here
quite
though.
sure yet, but he's here. Hello. Did you believe that
Greetings.
Cybertruck deliveries were going to happen?
Say again?
Did you believe that Cybertruck deliveries were going to happen?
I don't know what to believe with Tesla and Mr. Musk anymore, especially
Well,
after his comments about Twitter yesterday and advertisers. But maybe we'll get to that in a little bit.
Well, it was a specific advertiser. But now for a man joining us, extra special, a man who needs no introduction, but I will introduce him anyways, Mr. Alex Dykes of formerly Alex on Autos. It's now EV Buyer's Guide / Autos Buyer's Guide, depending on
what you're buying.
I don't know what you're buying.
Yeah.
In other words, the enemy, the competitor.
How are you guys? How is the pulse? Have you pulsed yourselves yet?
I don't feel one actually. Is that a problem?
Yeah.
I might have the mumps. I'm not sure.
Oh, yes, your lymphatic system needs drainage, but other than that.
Thank you for joining us, Alex. I really appreciate
thank you for having me.
It was an easy sales pitch, I think, because it was like, hey, do you want to go possibly make fun of Cybertruck?
It was. Chad texted me and said, what are you wearing? And so I had to put on this little thing. So
true.
It's not a branded piece of swag, though. I'm a little surprised.
Well, I'm not EV pulsing or buyer's guiding, so I figured I would just go discreet.
Right. It is Happy Cybertruck Day, though. Just I honestly didn't believe. I honestly didn't. In 2 minutes, we're apparently going to find out, unless Elon's not on time. But I definitely didn't expect this to happen. So, a little bit of background for everybody that's watching. Hello to everybody. Robbie, hello. Alex, you've owned 2 electric trucks that I know of, correct?
Yes, correct.
You've had both the Lightning and the Rivian.
Yes. We've been collect the set.
Yeah, got to catch them all. It's Pokemon. We've been in all of the electric trucks except the new Silverado. Have you been in Silverado?
I have been. Yes.
Okay. So we actually have some experience here. This is not just making fun of Cybertruck. Like, we're actually going to provide some real analysis.
Yeah, we're going to make fun of the Cybertruck too.
We probably are going to make fun of the Cybertruck.
Let's write down predictions here so we have them on record. How much do you think the Cybertruck is going to cost?
It's going to
not $39.9 or whatever.
No, it's going to start at 50. I bet it starts at 50.
So Chad's in for 50.
Craig.
What about you, Craig?
Do I go $1 or do I say like 60? I'm going to go 60 because I don't see what was the initial entry level price? I don't remember. Was it 29 or 39?
39.
39. Yeah, I'm going to say close to double. Let's do 60.
60K. Okay, I'll split the difference. I'm going to go 55.
Okay. Very, very conservative.
And that's going to be like single motor.
What is the cheapest one that you can get at the beginning
that they make out of plain steel and don't paint?
Yeah, and remember, this is not going to age well because the price is going to change 30 bazillion times between now and December 31st.
It's going to change between now and the end of the live stream. Like, he's going to announce a price, and then it's going to be different. Range, what are we thinking? 250? I'm going to go with 250 for the base and 300 for the long range, maybe a little longer.
I'm going to think that it could not possibly be lower than 300 for the base.
I would tend to agree, unless it's like 297 or something. Very close. Put me down for 297.
297.
That's very specific.
Well,
$1, Bob.
$1.
97.
Barb.
It's closest without going over, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Yep.
Closest without going over.
What I really want to know is how much is it going to cost to fix a dent?
Well, it's stainless. It doesn't dent.
Sure, just like your refrigerator doesn't dent, right?
Correct.
So, I mean, we saw this in some of the photos that have leaked out and stuff, and
Ooh.
these trucks are in dealers. It doesn't have a yoke. I mean, we're looking at the live stream now.
Thank God.
It's no yoke. It's just a Squirtle kind of wheel action going on.
I'm totally fine with the square wheel, whatever we want to call this thing, as long as it has an actual continuous rim. Totally fine.
Yeah.
Yes. I feel like there needs to be.
If you're going to do a yoke, do it like Lexus, because it actually works right.
Yeah, it works very well in that car.
It's still answering a question that nobody asked, but sure, it works well.
Correct. But if you have to have a yoke,
the wheel.
If you have to have the yoke, that's the way to do it.
At that Lexus event, I asked the engineer, seriously, what problem is this attempting to overcome? And there was no answer that was believable.
Well, because they didn't want to say, well, you see, Tesla did it.
Well, they claimed they'd been working on it for a decade longer, which I believe, because, it takes Toyota a long time to engineer something.
They just brought out heated seats 2 model years ago, right?
Yeah. They still haven't figured out how to integrate wood trim into the Lexus TX yet either. No wood on that one.
How much is Cybertruck? Aside from our predictions, we have no idea. But
don't worry, we're getting there.
I hope
we might possibly find out.
I hope that we learn.
But the stream is live. No Musk yet.
No Musk yet.
How bad do you think rear seat headroom will be with the triangular pyramid thing going on?
Terrible, right? Like it's going to be horrible. It's got to be.
It does not look great. I saw one. I've seen them in the wild because fortunately Bay Area here. So I have seen several in the wild and several, right next to F-150s and the like. And the back seat it's hard to tell really because of the way the frame is designed in a regular truck that the cab is really high off the ground. But the roof line in the Cybertruck really is quite low in the back.
There are things you can do to compensate for a low roof line, sculpting out the seat foam or just lowering the H point. But did they do that?
We have a it's interesting in angles. Saw it in person. Yeah. It's a flat floor though, right? Because Tesla only uses these flat packs, so they couldn't like cut out of the battery pack or do something clever to get more kind of foot room.
I don't think they would need to necessarily, because the battery packs in every Tesla that we've seen so far is thinner than the frame that we find in the regular truck. So, seems plausible.
Do you think we'll see anybody shooting any guns at trucks today? Customer trucks shooting guns, throw some balls, some pebbles.
I don't know. What are the where's he doing this? Is this in Fremont?
I thought this was in Texas.
Oh, so they could probably shoot him up there.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't think anything would stop. I don't think that would stop them from shooting anyway.
I mean, if the glass can't withstand a ball bearing, right? I don't know that a firearm.
Well, I mean, Joe Rogan took a compound bow to it, and
oh boy,
oh boy.
Yeah, I don't know. I am curious to see. Is it going to stop a 45? My bet would be no.
Maybe.
I mean, that stainless steel is tough and durable, but it's not a hard material. It's certainly not a bullet-resistant material at a thickness you'd be using in an automotive application. So,
yeah, that's not what they make armor for armored vehicles out of. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely not.
But do they use
the Cybertruck word mark in graffiti style? I don't know what font you'd call that. I don't see it in Word.
We're going to see on it.
Yeah,
say again.
I believe so.
So that we're going to see that on the back of a Cybertruck.
I hope so.
Yeah, embossed right in the like Tacoma style, right into the tailgate.
Okay.
Yes. So still waiting for the actual show to start, but at least they've got some visuals.
There's a logo. Yeah, we're probably waiting. We're probably waiting on Elon.
How long do you think it will be until we find Cybertrucks that have been painted because there's no such thing as stainless Bondo, and the solution was Bondo and then paint the whole darn thing?
Yeah, or wrap it maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, wrapping. Well, so a couple weeks ago, Tesla through the Tesla store started to sell wraps that you could go and have done at the dealer. It wouldn't be surprised if those were sort of available now or will be available at launch for Cybertruck. Just want to point out the 45 caliber is not a good penetrator, and smaller calibers are better at puncturing stainless steel. So, if I had a sound effects board, I'd play The More You Know. But
or just bullets.
The question that we don't know is how thick is the stainless steel? I mean, if it's thick enough, yeah, you could stop a whole lot of stuff, but then it might be too thick to be rationally used in a car.
Right. Well, I mean, it's going to add weight like every.
Yeah.
But it's a commercial vehicle classification, right? So they don't really care about weight.
Well, we don't know, but probably.
Make it as heavy as you want.
Yeah, so like according to the usual data charts here, 6 to 10 millimeters is required for a rifle bullet. They are not specific what gauge rifle that is, mind you. And they're saying that armor piercing would need a 50 caliber armor piercing round would need 25 millimeters. So you're talking
a full inch,
an inch.
Yeah.
Alex,
oddly enough, on that side of the wall is a materials engineering company where if you do have a bullet strike in your Cybertruck and you send us the piece, we could do some sectional analysis on it. So
hashtag not sponsored.
Yeah.
That's fine. Alex, when you went and saw the Cybertruck in person, was there a glass roof sort of on both sides of the TP top, or how was the roof situation?
Travis actually did that for us. He was the guinea pig that went in person, but yes, it does look like there is in the ones that they were showing off. I have only seen them in the wild, at parking lots, etc., and driving on the freeway very slowly. They've all been driven very slowly on the freeway, which I was surprised by. There's been no Cybertruck zooming around, breaking the law.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming they want to go slow so everybody can see them go zoom by.
The laws they break are probably just FMVSS requirements.
No, who tests that? Who audits that stuff?
I mean,
Nobody.
Good thing there are no pedestrian impact standards in North America, right? Because that front end.
I always laugh when I go through like a schools. It's like, drive like your kids live here. Okay, if I'm doing 25 miles per hour or 35 miles per hour, you're probably going to die if you get hit by a car, right? Like, I mean, maybe there's a few percentage points in your favor if you're going 25 compared to 35, but still, like, just stay out of the road is the best advice.
What bugs me is in most of California, the signs specifically say the speed limit's only 25 in a school zone when children are present. So, like on a Sunday, there are no kids around. Why are you going 25, buddy? Like, come on, let's get the move on.
Yeah.
It's a button for leveling the Cybertruck's rear. Touch sensor switches.
No ultrasonic sensors. Well, no ultrasonic sensors. Can you? Speaking of ultrasonic, I dropped that so I can see Alex's face. But ultrasonic sensors, Tesla got rid of them for Tesla Vision.
That's true.
So probably wouldn't need them at all on stainless steel. But can you do them? I guess you would cut out the.
Yeah, you'd have to have little cutout holes.
No.
And that's the thing I'm really going to be intrigued to get one in person and paw all over it and take parts of it apart, because the ultimate flaw with like the DeLorean back before times was that you can't make everything out of stainless steel. You still have to have deformable areas and plastic bits here and there. So matching that color, that's going to be interesting over time. And so from what we've seen on the Cybertruck, the solution has been just black plastic for some of those things. That might not be the worst idea, but you're never going to get that cool, sleek, Justin Bieber chrome car look, right?
Not sure I want that, but personally,
I mean,
that is a very good point, Alex. Yeah,
I mean, people do. I mean, how many? There were 2 million reservations? I don't know. We don't. We don't know, but maybe Elon will tell us whenever he takes the.
It's like I really just want to tap that whole front end and like, is that thing below the wacky light bar? Is that stainless steel or is that plastic? And if that's plastic, what will that look like in 5 years in the sun?
Like
Right.
a Pontiac Aztec.
So our friend here who has seen who has also seen it, is claiming or saying that it has rubber bumpers.
Yeah, not sure I believe that one. I mean, most cars don't have rubber bumpers at all, so it would
Right.
be plastic, I'm assuming, is what the person meant, maybe? I'm not clear.
Maybe. Will the
But yeah.
Cybertruck hubcaps fit my F-150? It would look ugly on your F-150, Alan. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they look a little funky. So that's the question.
Well, they're probably aero friendly, I
Mhm.
guess, as they could possibly be.
Speaking of aero, do you guys have any thoughts on the aerodynamics of the Cybertruck? Is that a sleek design? Because it doesn't necessarily look like it would be.
It's not bad aerodynamically from what I understand, mainly because of the way the front end does wrap around, and the very, very long leading edge, basically, because you don't really have the top of the cab until the peak of the pyramid thing, and then that really long slope at the back does help it aerodynamically.
Yeah.
It's also pretty long, which helps. 231 inches is what most people have been assuming.
Yeah.
But it's pretty low. And as long as it's low to the ground and has a flat bottom, I think that you could get away with calling it aerodynamic.
We've all seen the meme where a crab is more aerodynamic than a Jeep Wrangler. We've seen the wind tunnel one. Kind of curious on where like the Cybertruck falls into.
Yeah, it'll be.
Like,
my bet is going to be that it's probably going to be the most aerodynamic truck. That's probably an easy bet, right?
Well, Tesla's done a pretty good job at aerodynamics, like getting the vehicles they have to be as aero as possible. And it's easy to make fun of some of the engineering, but some of the engineering is pretty clever. So we're still waiting. They're re-showing the animation again as we speak.
I would say styling has not necessarily been Tesla's forte. They've done some really well. They've done some okay stuff, but they don't change things too often. So it's like the redesign of the 3 and the Y, I think, went well.
Yeah.
But the Y's always looked a little peculiar to me. And so has the X. Like they just
especially the X.
Just overinflated the other model.
I think that like the S has aged pretty well though. I mean, I know there wasn't necessarily a lot to that design, but I think that's where the advantage was in sort of how it wasn't too crazy or over the top. Or
I think the S was handsome and still remains handsome because they didn't really reinvent the wheel design wise. It looks like a very anonymous luxury sedan from that era. The S is always especially as Tesla's first in-house design product, has always kind of perplexed me a bit because the ultimate defense of Tesla, et cetera, from a lot of fans has been, you can tell it's a dedicated platform EV because it has a front trunk. And I've always been like, well, that makes no sense to me, because if you were going to design a vehicle from the ground up, why make this long hood just to have a front trunk in there? It would be better to have that sectional width in the back where you would, for that same extra 10 inches in length, get more cargo capacity. Like, why does it need to look like a sedan that could have an inline 6 under there?
Because you want those dramatic proportions, right? That long dash to axle ratio, stretched out hood. These are classic proportions.
Remember,
of
classic
cars.
ICE proportions. Why do they need to be in an EV?
Well, what people have tried, like, otherwise you'd have an Aria or a.
Yeah, that's the problem. And so people are upset about those sorts of designs, since they're like, well, it doesn't look like a dedicated platform EV.
Well,
like,
remember when
looks kind of like one.
I mean, remember when the Model S had jump seats in the back, though, in the backpack. So like if it didn't have that extra front space, you could have actually, don't know, had a real 3-row sedan, which would
have been cool.
Yeah,
would have definitely been cool. Yeah. Because I mean, it's like, it does have, if you look at this photo, it does have a long front overhang as well. That's not necessary. All that could have just been hacked off, because you don't need the front trunk, quote unquote, need. So you could have just smushed it back.
Yeah, but I think you don't need the front trunk, and you would probably have more space if you added those 10 inches or whatever to the back of the car. However, if you want those normal proportions, the attractive proportions, I would argue, then just do the front trunk, because you've got the room there anyway if you're making the car a little bit more conventional.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. So it's
But
like
I like a front trunk though. I don't necessarily want that room in the back.
If you have the long hood, you should have the front trunk. Like the BMW and
the
Mercedes
i7
thing.
Oh,
Those perplex me. Like
yeah.
you did this thing and you gave it this really long hood. So then why is there nothing in there? Just like get rid of it.
Because it's just a convenient place to dump all of the mechanicals. Oh, radiators. Oh, inverter. Oh, whatever. Just throw it under the hood and just wherever it fits is fine.
Packaging now is getting better though. I mean, in terms of being able to mix motor and braking and all of these other components, to where a lot of the stuff now can just sort of sit on the basically where the front axle is, freeing up all of this space that used to be devoted to accessories. And I think that, not to like really get technical about like tearing down a car or anything like that, but I think you're starting to see some of that under the skin, those efficiencies being made there, as more and more EVs are produced and come out.
But they didn't with the i7, right? Which was right. Wasn't the i7 designed before the 7 Series? So really, the 7 Series is based on the i7.
BMW, Mercedes, and Volvo have been pretty upfront about this. They claim that having a front trunk is a safety problem.
I mean, everything's a safety problem.
If you had machetes in there and you smash into something,
the claim is, and the reason that the ones that do have front trunks are so small and so high, like if you actually take apart the front end of the EX90, from what I've been able to see from the pre-production models, or even the XC40 right now, and you take the little tiny front trunk out of there, it's deliberately above the crash structure in the car. So they're claiming that, they want definable and predictable crash performance every time. And if you had a large front trunk that was within the crash structure, where we find it in a lot of EVs that have big front trunks, then it's not going to crash the same if you have a suitcase in there versus a gym bag versus a block of concrete or whatever. That all those things will change the crash test performance. And
I mean, it will change the performance if you had a big load in the trunk too, right?
Right.
There's a lot more mass there. So
it's an interesting thought process there.
Yeah.
And then I told them, I was like, well, why would I ever put a concrete whatever in my front trunk? And then I thought about it, and I did put concrete blocks in the front trunk of my F-150. Because why would I put them in the back and scuff up the bed? I was like, ooh, la la.
So scuff up the front trunk.
There's a front trunk thing I can jam them in here.
The Mega Power front trunk.
Good thing I didn't hit anything.
Mega Power front trunk,
which is larger than what you get in a Rivian and larger than the Hummer and I believe the Silverado. So very good packaging, Ford.
And power on all trims, where on Silverado, the front trunk is...
Silverado's trunk is quite small.
It is. There's a lot of wasted space in the fenders of that and the Hummer. They're just very, very wide.
Unibody.
Yeah.
Like the way those strut towers and everything integrate in that body, it's really bulky and really heavy.
Which is hilarious because you'd think the ground up design would be much more space efficient than the quote unquote Band-Aid solution of just taking your existing F-150 and electrifying it. But apparently that's not the case.
No, apparently not. Not that platform at any rate. But that battery is also huge. I am surprised. FCA basically defended Ford's logic with Lightning because they're doing their own, right? They're obviously they're in the same bucket together, so logical. But they went further and they claimed that they actually tested designs of unibody trucks for EVs, and they claimed the frame option was lighter. So I don't know.
I mean, it's integral. You integrate the battery in that structure, and you build the body on top. It's the very old school body on frame way of doing it, which we still do for trucks, of course. And maybe that does have more efficiencies in the electric world. It'd be fascinating to.
I really want to see a side by side comparison. Rivian has sideways agreed with that statement because R1S and R1T are body on frame vehicles, and the sort of deeper dive from the Stellantis people was basically that the way that frames are designed and the materials they can use in a frame, they can make a very rigid structure, have that support the battery pack, etc. And then that makes the unibody on top lighter, and there's less of a concern about the way that loads are transmitted in the unibody. So the entire upper structure of the vehicle is lighter as well. So you have a lower center of gravity and you have a lighter vehicle overall. It's the claim. I'm
let's just
curious
take
to see what Cybertruck is under the skin.
Yeah. Well,
It does appear to be unibody.
Well, we can keep watching. We can keep watching this repeat animation that they keep showing because
the same one.
Because
look at all those beautiful components. We don't know what they are, but they're there.
Look at all
Maybe
those
AI
components.
generated them.
Yeah.
Look at all those components
floating in the air.
So let's take a second and welcome to the chat room, Mr. Aaron Bragman. Hello.
Bragman's World. Sorry, I'm late. Have they shot any machine guns at it yet? No, unfortunately, they have not. Mr. Musk has not showed up yet, so perhaps he'll be armed and dangerous. Since this is Texas, right? I think they're doing this in Texas.
I know but you could replay the live stream, Aaron, and we talked about guns earlier, so it's a whole thing.
It is.
It is. So what's interesting about the Ram, I thought, especially now with the Ram charger, and it's not a plug-in hybrid.
Oh, it's a plug-in hybrid.
However you want to call it, is that frame is built exclusively. Stella frame is built exclusively for electrified platforms. So the 2025 Ram 1500 is not. It's still on the old. It's still on the other frame.
Yep.
And I think there was some question or speculation maybe for a while that everything would go to Stella frame, but it appears that that's just not possible. And what's interesting too about Stella frame is how it arches out. So instead of having just two ladder frame,
it's got some sexy curves.
It does. It has some sexy curves, and I'm not an engineer, but it is really impressive how what you could do now with high strength steel and the bends and curves and stuff that you can do to it that doesn't without lowering the sort of integrity of the steel to make it still as as strong.
I'm surprised that they're trying to sort of have a platform differentiation between the two, because it's been my understanding that Stella borrows a lot from the original platform design. So and nobody else.
Why wouldn't you?
Right, exactly. And so they're kind of all Stella. One's Stella.
Sure.
Estella.
Well, and Stellantis is very good at taking platforms and architecture and getting every bit of blood out of those rocks, basically. So it's it's interesting, and I find it I'm really curious about Ram Charger.
I want to know how bad the economy is going to be.
The fuel economy, the
electricity economy. Both.
I mean, both. Well, I mean, it's going to be a class. It's a class 3 truck. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. It's got the flat mirror on the passenger side. It's actually the Ram Charger that they showed us in person had 8 lug wheels.
Oh, it did. Interesting. I mean, the 14,000 pound towing capacity should tell you something.
Yeah.
Maybe the future should look like the future. Is something happening now?
Whoa!
Gird up your loins.
My loins are girded.
Good. We got more animations. We got B-roll.
Oh,
ice.
It's a
picking up dust.
Who loves
It's
B-roll?
not a Cummins. No. It's electric, Alex.
Who loves B-roll?
Not me. Not this kind of B-roll. This is this is TV commercial B-roll.
But Tesla doesn't do any advertising.
There we go.
Whoa, yeah.
It's on Mars,
Trucks.
I bet. Ooh, look at that.
Well, you can't film that on Earth now because of legal reasons. So you got to go to Mars.
It certainly looks like it does. That is a vehicle, all right. Wow.
It's exactly what we hoped it wouldn't look like, but
and there it is.
Yeah. There it is.
I wonder where they recorded some of this. Some of it looks like Iceland to me.
I was just going to say Iceland.
Yeah.
Al in the chat is asking, so is the Cybertruck actually beating the Silverado EV to actual customers?
No.
No, because there are actual customers that have Silverado EV work trucks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like how many, though? Cybertruck might outsell.
More than 10.
Yeah.
Why are they showing footage from Metal Storm, the destruction of Jared Sin? I don't know. I hope they bought the licensing rights to
Is
that.
that a pop culture reference?
That is. We should talk
That's why
about.
I don't get it then.
We
Yeah.
should talk about Craig's lack
Tone, a little Tona rocket engine.
Uh-huh.
Does it have
Yeah.
rocket boost mode?
It should.
SpaceX mode, launch mode.
SpaceX mode.
There it is. Look at that. It's
Whoomp.
It's on Tatooine now, except you can't see the second sun. It's behind the clouds.
I do kind of like the light bar. Light bar is kind of funky and cool.
Just like a Mercury sable.
But it's you know, slim.
Oh,
slim
it's
and
actually driving out. There's people. I see cell phones.
Oh, there it is.
All those social media photos that will never be shared or looked at again. Get as many as you possibly can.
Those angles are not flattering in that light.
No.
The man, the myth, the Musk. Here
there he is.
Is he going to tell his customers to go F themselves or just advertisers on Twitter?
Here to tell Disney.
We will find out.
Who's actually listening to the streaming, the talkie-talkings?
We have a producer listening to the talkie-talkie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, maybe.
When are they going to break in and tell us what he's saying?
Well, he's muted, so let me unmute. Oh,
I am surprised there's nothing revealed on the Tesla website yet.
Yeah. Well, you two chat amongst yourselves. I'm going to try to see if I can.
Meanwhile, in other EV news of the world, the EX90 from Volvo just got priced.
Oh, there it is.
Now, here it is.
There it is.
Rare. That is once every 5 to 10 years. Something really special.
Why is he in the dark?
A really unusual product.
Is he a vampire?
In the dark.
And
they didn't plan this or
we'll
prep.
remember those special moments when. Indeed.
That wasn't funny.
No, not really.
Special moments. But these things are rare. It's very
Thank
rare
God.
that a product comes along that is seemingly impossible, that people said was impossible, that experts said.
Did you ever see the show Forever Night?
And this is one of those times.
This is giving me those vibes. Vampire in a darkly lit room.
Said was impossible. That experts said would never be made.
Impossible? Did they say it was impossible? Bad idea? Yeah.
Really is.
Yeah.
Possible? Maybe not.
Totally possible.
Yeah, I mean, with enough money and time.
Product. I think it's the most unique thing on the road.
The most unique thing on the road,
finally,
probably.
The future will look like the future.
The future will look like the future. Okay.
I'm afraid now.
So what we're aiming for here is something that's more truck than truck.
The truckiest truck.
You can read it on the background. More utility than a truck.
Thanks, bro. That's literally my brother there. So, and so what we have here is something that is a better truck than a truck, while also being a better sports car than a sports car, in the same package. So
it's like a Ron Popeil product. It does multiple things.
You know, they talk about how trucks are tough. That's one of the defining characteristics of a truck. So how tough is this truck?
Yeah, how tough is it?
Let's find out. So we actually had to come up with a special ultra strong Tesla designed steel alloy. So this alloy this metal did not exist before. We needed something that you could actually manufacture, but that would have basically no corrosion. That didn't need paint.
Maybe, Alan. Maybe.
But you can still make it in volume. And part of the reason that it has this angular shape is you can't actually stamp these body panels. The body panels would break the stamping machine.
What?
So, and I should say
you
also,
can definitely stamp stainless steel. It's just not easy.
Exoskeleton. Exactly. It actually has more torsional rigidity than a sports car, it has more torsional stiffness than a McLaren P1.
Is his face in the dark so people can't see him reading the
So
teleprompter? Is that the secret
it's a
here?
big deal.
So that's probably so we can't see his eyes because he's
Now,
glazed.
you may remember
More torsional
an incident
rigidity
4
than a
years ago.
McLaren P1.
Didn't quite go as planned. And Franz, maybe we should try it
Alloy
again.
made out of Chuck Norris. One of the commenters.
Now we're trying again.
Dactylonian. Oh, now he's in the light.
Oh no, a demo. Oh, we're demoing. Yeah, come on, demo.
Is this a baseball?
We'll find out from Franz.
Oh, it didn't break this time. Well, that's good.
But it was also a baseball?
Yes, I'm not.
Yeah.
In case those
Barbarian.
neighborhood rapscallions are playing a game of stickball in the street, you don't have to worry now.
Great. I mean, I think we could probably have a pro pitcher love it. It'd still work. So anyway, it's the glass is tough. Basically, that's what we're saying. So you don't have to worry about like rocks hitting the glass and cracking the glass. This glass is basically rock proof. It's also makes the car very quiet.
Maybe.
So it's the thing that you'll appreciate when you drive the car is how smooth and quiet it is. It doesn't feel like a normal truck. It's smooth as silk and silent when you drive it.
Like a Rivian or a Lightning. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So in terms of toughness, and then things like rollover, because the center of gravity is so low, it doesn't roll over.
That's the standard for the stainless steel right there.
Exactly. But also, it doesn't roll over. Well, guess other EVs have a low center of gravity too. Like this isn't new.
Like all of them?
Exactly. I mean, I want an EV with the battery in the roof just for better handling.
I bet I can roll one over.
Now we have an animation
of a 45, which we learned earlier does not puncture stainless steel as well as smaller caliber.
I just want to know how heavy that is, and then of course, why is the criminal not just going to shoot the glass?
Well, aim a little higher, right?
Yeah, aim higher.
Well, the glass is bulletproof, remember, or at least softball proof.
In movies, you sometimes see the hero or heroine hiding behind the car door while being shot with bullets. That doesn't actually work unless you're driving a Cybertruck. So if Al Capone showed up with a Tommy gun and emptied the entire
who's been dead for
magazine
90 years or whatever,
car door, you would still be alive.
Brad asked a very valid question there. Who's a
just as Elon's
you know,
answering it.
Why'd you make it bulletproof?
Al Capone,
I'm like,
his
from the
ghost.
dead.
Why not?
Or maybe like the cartels in Mexico or something. I don't know.
How tough is your truck?
armed.
Because the other trucks, the bullets go through both sides. So you shoot a bullet, goes through both sides of the car. You just never know. I mean, sometimes you get these like late civilization vibes. You never know.
Chris Tunn in the chat says, just post up criminals at superchargers. They got to get out at some point.
At Pure Tesla, we have the finest in apocalypse technology. I was on the Joe Rogan show, and Joe bet me $1 that his armor-piercing steelhead arrow would go through the car. He owes me $1. So. Now, what about utility?
Alex, you look concerned.
Strength is great. But is this,
I'm just very confused here about some of this. Like,
just a,
a
showpiece. Or
how many people are going to try and buy this because they think it's an affordable armored car, and then the glass just is broken? Like,
so I wish I had a lawyer. So I wish I had a lawyer because it's like begging people to take pot shots. Alan says.
Yeah.
Like, is there some legal ramifications here?
Oh, probably not, because I mean Tesla seems to be successfully Tefloned, right? I mean they haven't gotten successfully sued for anything.
Did he just say it wasn't the original tow capacity estimated at 14,000 pounds? This said 11.
11,000, yeah, and 2,500 pounds.
And it's a tough composite bed, no liner needed. The bed is 6 foot long, 4 foot wide, and you can fit 4 by
6 foot long, 4 foot wide,
4 by 8 pieces of plywood in.
But between the wheel wells or on top of them?
With the back down.
Maybe the wheel wells are just ferried into the
for those
buttresses.
who are really into the truck world, there's something in the truck world called a truck pull. This is really the key test.
Another comment from Al. Fantastic.
Much power does your truck actually have?
You can post that, Ben. I'll read it.
40,000
No,
sled.
let me. I'll grab it.
And when we went to the track,
I feel
we
like
said,
you need to eat a few edibles before watching.
What's the best?
To Liv's question here, I'm pretty sure that aero resistance is a lower bar.
Right?
The guy who runs
As someone that has a crossbow with almost 600 grain bolts, you can get through a lot more with a bullet.
Do you take that to the Renaissance Festival? Or?
I do not.
Look at that. No, but shh, watch. We're going to the tractor pole.
There we go.
Going Bowling Green, Ohio. Tractor pole.
That's some squat.
Squat.
Single rear wheel diesel. Ford's Super Duty.
I like stunts because I can I already know that like certain people we know are already constructing press releases as they watch this. 6,850 pound curb weight.
That's interesting.
She's a big girl.
Light.
That's not bad, actually.
No.
That's lighter than the Rivian.
And that was the tri-motor. Yeah.
I mean, at that point, the tires on there are going to be the biggest deal.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
More power than a Ford F-15000.
We actually had to slightly turn the car at the end so it didn't hit the wall. So this, you have here a car that is, bullet tough, like that phrase, TM.
I think Ford might complain about the built bullet tough line.
Has a massive towing capacity, massive bed. It's basically an incredibly useful truck.
I wouldn't call the bed massive.
It's not just some standing showpiece.
And I'm really wondering if that bed is exactly 4 feet wide by 6 feet, because it does look very square.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, what about performance?
That would mean that would be volumetrically considerably smaller than a regular 6 foot bed.
0.335 drag coefficient. I guess that's.
Suspension. So no matter what the load is, you can always have it can set the ride height at low, high, anything. It'll automatically adjust the damping according to.
No, so that's higher than R1T. R1T is 0.30.
Has a 17-inch ground clearance.
I'm looking up
That's
Ford
a
right
true
now
17 inches. Typically with a truck, you'll get the differential hanging down low, the rear differential, and that's what you'll high side on a rock. But this has a completely flat bed. So
they're saying basically the same ground clearance as a Hummer truck.
Basically anything.
Yeah.
We actually took the Cybertruck on a
recovery
rally drive.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, that's going to be in recovery mode too, basically, whatever they're going to call it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It has locking differentials, rear torque vectoring, and the crazy thing is they'll do this all in comfort. It has
just not for the backseat passengers who have no headroom.
It's one of the things where most people don't know what that means, but
four-wheel steering.
It's how modern jets are designed. The steer-by-wire, which gives you variable gain. So if you turn the wheel the steering yoke a small amount in the parking lot, it will turn the wheels a lot. But if you turn it on a highway, it turns the wheels.
Oh, so they copied Lexus on the steer-by-wire.
It dynamically adjusts how much the wheels turn according to.
And they all copied Nissan, but hey, whatever.
This actually makes it very easy.
The worst steering system to copy.
And it has a turning circle less than a Model S.
It looks like the Lightning's coefficient of drag is 0.56, if the source is correct. Which is significantly worse.
Yeah.
It has incredible low speed maneuverability.
Some have Inside EVs said it was 0.44 for the Lightning.
And
that's more believable.
There's a lot of
but yeah, this is better.
Under the skin. It's the first time that a car is moving to a 48 volt low voltage architecture from 12 volts, which has been around for 100 years. We have Ethernet comms, distributed controllers, allows for 70% less wire in the car, and it's really the internals are as advanced as the externals. It's a whole new step change in the technology. So let's take it to the racetrack and see how does the Cybertruck perform against a Porsche 911. And I should
which
say
911?
This is an actual Porsche. We literally just got it from the dealer. 2023 Porsche 911.
That's not very specific. Is it a Turbo S?
Maybe the base model?
What is the base? There's so many trims I never remember.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a
Sulfenhausen's
green one.
finest.
That's all we know.
That had GoPro on it too. Oh wow, the electric beat it off the line. I'm shocked.
But wait, there's more.
2.6. That sounds as crazy as you'd expect.
Yeah.
Ferdinand Porsche is rolling over in his grave.
Yeah. Porsche.
So
Like a
the-
Porsche.
Porsche like borscht.
Porsche. So it looks like it's just a 911, like a Carrera, either 2 or 4.
911 across a quarter mile faster than the Porsche 911 can go by itself.
Which 911?
Which is tougher than bullets. Tow pretty much anything. Faster than a 911 while towing a 911. So, and deliveries begin now. Thank you.
And how much does it
How much?
Conveniently leave that part out. All right. I said 60 if I recall, right?
So,
You said 60.
What did you say, Chad?
Chad said 50.
I said 50 for the start for the base model.
It's
And
not
you
on their
split the
website
difference.
yet.
If you have to ask, you can't afford it. That's true, and I'm glad because I don't want it. Who gets VIN number 00001?
Are those fog lights at the bottom of the front, or are those also part of the headlight system?
They look foggish. Cybertruck number 2. Who had number 2? Calling number 2.
Deliveries begin now.
69 420. That's what I should have guessed.
Is that what
That's
they
I
said?
should have. No,
Is that the official number, or is this?
no, but that's. Oh, what's happening? The
Are
website's
they
not
having
updated
troubles
yet,
finding its owner?
apparently.
And frameless windows. That's always a bad choice, I feel.
Oh,
Yes.
Alan said the headlights are the lower ones, Alex, and the top thing is just
Aw.
DRLs.
It's like
Oh.
a Jeep Cherokee.
Yeah.
Look at this, rolling off the line. Lol,
No
no
price.
pricing, says Robbie. Apparently not yet.
Well, yeah.
Stay tuned.
These people don't know what they're.
Yeah.
These people
Remember,
don't know what
people
they're
put
paying for
down,
the
like,
trucks.
6 years ago, paid like $250,000 to get the Tesla Roadster. That's
True, they
And
still
are
have
these
it.
10
Still
people
not out.
actually customers, or are these Tesla employees, wives of employees, husbands of employees? Like, who are these people?
mm-hmm.
They're the first
Why
10
won't the door
deliveries.
open? The door's not opening. It's just
Hope
like
it's
the
broken.
Chrysler minivan introduction in the 80s. The executives got stuck in the back seat.
See, it's not looking overly roomy there, and that the way that pillar is so angled, taller people are going to be bopping their heads trying to get in this thing.
Yeah, they have to.
Bragman says, as soon as the truck rolls out of frame, they have to give it back. It's like a Soviet military parade. They go around, the same tanks just go around the block and rocket launchers and they come back.
Invest in women's sports. Yeah, okay, we should.
Wow, influencers are all they're geared up and ready to go to the Starbucks drive-thru. Woo!
well, as you can see, we've got quite a few to deliver here. So,
You're going to deliver everyone
thank you.
this way.
3 days. Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, wow, Mr. Plaid here. All right.
Hope you enjoy
Notice
your
none of the
bar.
customers are driving them. They're being chaperoned.
That is weird too. Yeah, it's
look
not
at me
like,
collecting
hey,
my new
Bob,
Cybertruck.
let's get you in your Cybertruck and drive home. That's
Yeah.
not what this is, apparently.
You get a chauffeur.
Huh.
It's like the Korean Central News Agency, the North Korean broadcast. It's just propaganda. It's like, yes, you've received your truck. Now you have to get out. We're out of line of sight of the cameras. We're taking it back in the factory. Sweet, bro. Yeah. How much does it cost?
The burning question.
Also, is it done? Or are we just watching people chauffeur it away?
It can't
yeah.
possibly be done not so soon.
It's it's a non-zero chance, right?
Let's see. 11,000. They've got info back on the website. No paint, chip resistant, beyond, blah, blah, blah.
Was it back on the website now?
They've got like a landing page now that they used to have.
Okay, yeah, they just
Let me
updated
do
that.
Control F and Shift 4, and I see no dollar sign. But maybe if I do order now.
Oh. Your purchase price is saying estimated purchase price $60,990 for the base model.
Well, reserve now. I see rear drive is $49,890.
All right, so order now.
That's probable savings included.
I was going to say, is that
the purchase price? Rear wheel drive, $60,990 before delivery. It's available in 2025. 250 miles of range.
Whoa! In 2025,
the base, they're bilking the early adopters to get as much money as possible. It's classic. So many companies do that.
So I was right about the range. I wasn't right about the price. All-wheel drive, $79,990. Delivery in 2024. 340 miles of range. 112 mile an hour top speed, 4.1 seconds to 60. 11,000 pounds of towing. And then for $99,990, the Cyber Beast. Delivery in 2024, 320 miles of range. And that's the one with all of that's 2.6 seconds to 60. That is with a 1 foot rollout subtracted. So they're not counting the first split because they're cheating.
I'm okay with 1 foot of rollout, oddly enough, but
it doesn't matter.
Well, why do all
it doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter. Have you noticed that none of these are going to go as far as a Silverado EV? Then there's no 400 mile.
None of these. Yeah, 320 miles, 340 miles.
340 is the limit.
Yeah, 340 is the limit. So other than the Lightning, there will be other trucks that will go further.
Yeah.
And the rear wheel drive starting at 61,000 plus destination plus
and they're
the silly
listing
order fee.
10,296 pound-feet of torque, which has to be wheel torque, another BS figure.
Yeah, but everybody uses
just like GM.
No, just GM does. Nobody else does that.
But the 250 miles of range for the base truck, that's
250 miles of range, 6.5 seconds, 0 to 60.
So Alex, what were our predictions again? Run down those numbers. We all guessed the range and price.
Chad got the range right. 250 is the base. I said 300. You said 297. Pricing, none of us are anywhere close. Craig is the closest at 60,000 because it's really going to be about 63 some odd after destination there. And Chad was 50. I was 55. Yeah, but that's not till 2025.
Which if they're saying 2025, that model may never get built, frankly.
Yeah.
Because didn't they do the same chicanery with the Model 3, whatever it was, standard range? Because you were trying to get one, weren't you?
We did, and we ended up getting a standard range plus that just had certain things turned off, but the battery wasn't locked, and it still had the speakers, etc. They just slapped a lower price tag on it. And was like, here you go, get away from me, kid.
get away from
Cybertruck delivery event, and
be able to
what? Huh?
Oh, one more. Okay, sorry.
They really practiced this. They're very well choreographed.
Oh, that's funny. You think they practiced.
How high is he?
How high is he? On
Cyber Beast.
But like the price went up significantly, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Big shocker, right?
The cheap one will be the last one that goes on sale. That shouldn't be
or never goes on sale.
Yeah. And they didn't really say when in 2024 this delivery is, so
no.
or if its delivery charge is going to go up, because currently Tesla's delivery charge is actually a little high.
And appreciate your support. And this is really going to, like I said, change the look of the roads, and finally the future will look like the future, and it's really going to be something special. Thank you.
Woo!
Crash it! Pull a Mark Royce.
You notice he didn't also talk about his supposed locking differentials. Like, are these actual real locking differentials?
So he said there was a locking differential, and he said there was torque vectoring. So I would imagine that torque vectoring is probably on the tri-motor, because I'll just do it through the motors.
Right.
And then I'm assuming I don't know. But let's
So what? Analyze this, folks.
yeah. So let's take have Ben, our good old fancy producer in the background, pull up the Cybertruck page so that we can kind of just look at the specs and stuff.
Chad, we've got to do a better job of the Cyber.
We do have to do a better job at the Cyber.
At the Cyber.
While he's doing that, I'm gonna drop an
You're the
ad
puppet.
because
We're not going to call it techie clicky clicky.
No.
ticky clicky. First, I guess before we start talking a little bit more about the specs.
Built for any planet. Did you see that?
Built for any planet.
Good to know.
Well, okay, so could they work on space? You know, I guess it could work in space.
You're not going to find many chargers on Mars.
Are we? No. So, looks the same. We figured that. We've already seen them in dealers. We were just talking a little bit about specs and pricing. But overall, Alex, is this kind of what you were expecting? Anything surprising?
It's basically what I had expected. I would say the only thing that I find, a few things I find surprising, but the bed is a little bit disappointing in a way that it's not bigger. It was hard to tell based on some of the shots that people had seen, et cetera, exactly how big it would be. It is very square, which I guess has pros and cons, but volumetrically, you could put way more in everybody else's bed. If I'm looking at some of the pictures they actually now have on the site, you can see that you can't access the front of the bed easily from above, because it kind of tucks under that aerodynamic cover. So it's not like you could put a 6 foot by 4 foot by, 5 foot tall block in there or anything. It's not like you can stack it up with foam blocks or something. So it's going to be less trucky than the other half-ton trucks out there. The interior does look cool, though.
It's a couple of things I think worth mentioning too. Our friends at Maki Vlog, that's 250 miles of Tesla claimed range, not EPA.
Yes.
That is a very good point. If we ordered one now, what happened to the 2 million reservations ahead of you? Like, can you get one? Like, delivery in 2024, like, how long ago would you have had to have ordered in order to get one this year?
The other thing that they're not answering is, what is this range extender thing?
Yeah, where do you see that at? Because I wanted Ben to
So if you
pull
go on
that
the
up so we can look at it.
specs, on the Cybertruck specs towards the bottom of the regular page, you look at Cyber Beast and all-wheel drive. It says that EV range with range extender is 470 miles for the all-wheel drive, 440 for the other one. I would assume that this is some sort of additional battery pack that's been tossed on board.
Yeah, it has
that
to
would
be.
make sense. Could it be a driving mode, though? Put it in range extend mode.
I mean, I suppose it's possible.
And they're just branding it something weird.
That would seem like a lot of extra range.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
See here. The curb weight is nearly 7,000 pounds on the all-wheel drive model, of course. Ground clearance is extract mode, 17 inches. So pretty much like the Hummer. The charging speeds are not any faster than the current lineup. It just says maximum 250 kilowatts.
Which we know version 4 superchargers will do 350.
Yeah, and they're saying charging speed 128 miles added in 15 minutes, which is not really, eye-opening.
Well, it's a big battery pack, I'm sure, too.
So it is, but I mean, Hummer is 100 miles in 10 minutes. Assuming you're...
And that's really bad efficiency on the Hummer.
Yeah. 11 and a half kilowatts of power from the bed and cabin outlets, no frunk outlets. Probably a bit of a miss not having an outlet in the frunk. 11.5 kilowatts, though, if I'm not mistaken, Alex, is class leading.
No. on the charging? You said charging's 11.5?
For the
No,
outlets.
for outlet
Oh, the
power
outlets.
outlets, power on board.
Oh, gotcha. Power on board. That sounds a little bit better. You
Ford
could
does
do a little higher.
9.2, right, for the Lightning,
Yeah,
if memory serves?
Ford's 9.2 or 9.7, I want to say.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Did they talk about charging speeds at all?
I mean, he
Just
didn't mention
250.
anything during the presentation. Just the 15 miles and, or I'm sorry, 128 miles in 15 minutes. Like that was the only thing that I saw mentioned.
Robbie DeGraff in the chat has an interesting concept. He says dual chemistry battery. Could that be?
They haven't
like
worked
a
on that, have they?
LFP or and an NMC or something, or
Well,
one
like
charges faster, one holds more energy.
well, something
and-
like something
yeah.
like what our Next Energy is doing, which they just had
Yeah.
news today. But I don't think Tesla's working on.
I wouldn't think so either.
No,
Well,
we haven't
anything
heard
like that.
anything on that front there. Yeah,
But
it's
yeah, so,
basically
like-
1 extra kilowatt versus the Silverado EV for
Okay.
power output.
So I mean, in theory, it could power a house.
Yeah.
I don't know. They didn't really talk about that. I mean, it looked like they were plugging a NEMA 1450.
It's surprising, Chad, you bring that up, that they didn't mention like
Maximum continuous power, it says, is 9.6. In home backup mode, it will do 11.5.
So it will do some sort of Vita.
It will need equipment sold separately, some sort of universal wall connector, a Tesla gateway, and an optional backup switch.
So basically, what you kind of need with Lightning, you need a special charger, and then the sun.
And it will need It will need a Tesla Powerwall and wall connector.
Oh, you've got to have the Tesla stuff too.
Sounds like it, yeah.
Well, that's interesting. You have to have the Powerwall because isn't the truck the Powerwall? Why would you need a Powerwall if
Exactly,
the truck is
right?
the
Because that's the battery pack, right?
Right.
This, I don't know. This just
I don't
looks so
see any
weird.
charging specifications here. Do you see any charging specifications?
Well, they said up to 250, right?
AC charging, I should specify. Sorry,
okay,
my bad.
gotcha. No, I don't see.
Well,
It's
imagine.
it's probably gonna be 11 kilowatts or somewhere in there, right? That's
yeah. I mean, it's probably 7.2 on
Oh.
the single motor, and
That's
10
sad.
or 11 or whatever it is on the.
Womp,
I
womp.
was kind of expecting them to go back to 19 kilowatts.
But
They
I
have to
guess
introduce a new charger because their current wall charger only does 48 amps.
Right. Yep.
So they would need a new one to.
Indeed. They're saying maximum payload of 2,500 pounds.
What will the Lightning do? Will the Lightning do more than that?
No, it's only like 1,500, I think.
Because I don't remember. I think the towing is 7,500 or 70. I'm pulling it up right now. Tech specs.
Tesla vehicles equipped with power share technology have onboard electronics that unlock your battery's ability to provide power whenever you need it. Whether you need power, construction site, pregame tailgate, blah, blah, blah. Home. Power your home during an outage for 3 days at 11.5 kilowatts.
So, okay, I've got the numbers for the Lightning. It's max towing is 7,700.
Yep.
And payload is 2,235, it looks like.
For the
with
base,
standard
yeah.
range. Yeah.
Right.
Or I'm sorry, 10,000 pounds is the max towing.
Right. Yeah. For the longer range one.
Correct. But max payload with the smaller which is with the smaller battery is 2,235.
Yep. Sounds about right.
Yeah. So this
does have an air suspension, so it could be. I could see that could be possible.
Yeah. But the Cybertruck isn't leagues ahead of the Lightning, which has been out for a couple of years now, right?
I'm also surprised they didn't say anything about whether it was SAE tested on the tow ratings, etc. So,
yeah, like that's the real big truck question, right? Like the one that I've been asking ever since they said that it has 11,000 pounds of towing. Like, did they go to Davis Dam and run the test, or simulate Davis Dam?
See where the spare tire goes?
No.
Is it in the bed?
In a little fabric covered thing strapped down in the bed. So if you want a spare tire in your truck, and this is actually the best angle that I've seen of the of the cargo area in the
Mm.
truck, which unfortunately it looks like it's 6 feet long. It's very sloped. Basically,
Yeah.
it follows the angle of the seat backs in the rear. It's kind of like the Santa Cruz. So it looks like it's only 6 feet long from that bottom edge all the way to the back.
And that spare tire appears to be optional.
Yes, it is optional. It says.
Is there an in-bed trunk? I see a split line in the floor of the bed.
That's the tailgate, I believe.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
And that's a super short bed.
I believe that's a
It
tailgate.
is.
Unless that's like the Rivian's little flapper thing that makes a lot of noise and makes the tailgate hard to close.
Yeah. I can't see any none of these pictures really show the bed well.
The charging port in the bed is actually a NEMA 1450 and not a 30 amp twist lock.
I'm surprised they didn't go with a twist lock, actually. Because there are 40 and 50 amp twist locks they could have used.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Charging port looks like it's in the fender, which seems like a odd place to put it, but I guess with the stainless steel you can't.
Front or rear? I haven't seen a.
It's in the rear.
It's in the rear.
Again.
Yeah, like other Teslas, yeah. Yeah, I just don't understand. Like, this is not a design that's conducive to utility, right? Like, it looks different. If that's all you want, it delivers, right? It ain't gonna rust. That's kind of cool, but otherwise, why does it look like that?
Somehow, to me, this seems more of a Hummer truck competitor in some ways than a regular truck competitor. Because obviously it's, someone that wants something different and more stylish and all of that. Some of the numbers are just funky and bonkers, like the really fast acceleration, etc. But then the whole spare tire in the bed thing, that's no bueno for me. And then the bed itself is oddly shaped compared to other trucks. They're talking maximum space of 67 cubic feet, but that is including that large triangular section. So any way you slice it, that bed for normal bed use is smaller than a Lightning.
Yeah.
And they're trying to claim that, and the cubic feet of total storage, of course, includes the front trunk.
It's just a design, chill people. Well, it is just a design, and I would agree. You either like it or you don't. But if it's going to have the utility of a pickup truck, like in some cases, design can affect how useful it is as a truck. So, while yes, as a statement piece or as a cod piece, sure, you can either like it or not. But from a utility standpoint, it's maybe not as competitive as it could be.
Yeah,
I do like their use of stainless steel, though. I mean, it's in theory never going to rust. It will be very durable. There are certain concerns, of course. Manufacturing is difficult. Stainless steel is it's not a hard material, but it's very, very tough to drill. You drill it or machine it. The chips that come off, they will cut you like a hog. They are so sharp. So it's a difficult material to work with, but I love the idea that it won't rust and there's no paint.
But there's also a large portion of the vehicle that is not going to be stainless steel, most likely. We don't know for sure, mind you, but can be pretty safe to bet that suspension components and things like that are not stainless steel. Fasteners are not going to be, because you don't really want stainless steel fasteners on a lot of things.
Well, it galls up really. If you put a stainless steel nut on a stainless steel bolt, you ain't never getting it apart.
Nope, not if you over torque it. So that is a big problem. I'm intrigued to see what it looks like under there.
Actually, I'll come back to that. Most buyers are probably going to buy a Lightning or Silverado. Yeah, if you're buying a truck for work, you probably weren't thinking about buying the Tesla to begin with. I mean, there's people out there. I mean, with 2 million reservations, I'm sure there's some people who definitely bought this or pre-ordered it under the idea that they were going to use it as a work truck. So it'll be interesting to see if they keep the reservations now. After seeing it,
it's a work truck. I think this is a poor choice, probably compared to the Lightning.
Yeah, I mean, if everybody out there was buying a work truck, they'd be buying 2-door regular cab base models, and
precisely
that's not what's selling.
No, but I'm saying, like, if you want an EV for work, the Lightning is probably a far better choice than this.
Yeah, and
I mean, you've owned the Lightning too, so
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you agree or disagree, Alex, but
I would definitely agree on that. I mean, it's also considerably less expensive.
Yeah.
That's Silverado's problem. Silverado's very
a lot
expensive.
of money. Yeah. The no spare tire thing, going back to this Maki Vlog comment. I know that it's common practice for cars to not come with spares these days, and I understand why. Is this the first truck without a spare standard, Alex, that you can think of?
Not that I can think of, no. I don't think there's any truck that doesn't come with a spare. I mean, people make fun of the Ridgeline because it comes with the donut.
Because the spare is, and it's in the bed.
It's tiny.
But like,
but
I
even
don't.
it comes with a spare.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's considering that Eddie Truck is supposed to go sort of off-road, off tarmac, like it's very strange, I think, to see the spare tire as being optional.
I mean, I wouldn't want.
There's no good place to put it. That's just,
right. The big thing
design
for me would be
I
I wouldn't want to be in a situation where I need a spare and I'm towing something, and it's not a full-size spare.
Yeah.
You know, I have been in situations multiple times where I've been towing a load that was in excess of 7,000 pounds, and I've had a flat tire on the tow vehicle, and that is not a good day.
No, definitely not a good day.
And one of those times I was driving something that only had a donut. So then you have to have that decision. You're like, well, you know, I can't put the donut on the back because that's where the flat was. So then you have to disconnect everything, and
then you're doing two
rotate
tire
all
changes.
the tires around, right?
Yeah.
And I
on
think
the shoulder of the highway.
Yeah.
I think this matters too. Even if you're just towing like jet skis, wave runners, you know, the lighter stuff, you're still gonna. I think that's and going for the optional spare, like, yeah, you give up trunk space, or not trunk space, but bed space. Now on some off-road focused trucks, when you do buy that second off-road tire or whatever, you know, you mount the tire carrier in the bed and you lose the space anyways. But that's not sort of standard operating procedure. So I think that's the real thing that I think might catch some people out is not having a spare.
I'm surprised they didn't try and put it in the front.
Yeah.
And speaking of the front, without legroom numbers, it does appear that the seating position is much more relaxed than a regular truck. So that's probably where some of the room goes, because this is 230 some odd inches long. It's not a short truck. But this has a smaller bed than a lot of the competition by the very pictures that we're seeing here. So I'm wondering where some of the space goes. Like there's no obviously nowhere to put the battery the spare tire because the battery's kind of there. But that it's not as space efficient as I assumed it would be. Let's put it that way.
Is this just a really big? Is this just a really big mid-sized truck?
Probably.
Yeah. They kind of boxed themselves, painted themselves into a corner with if they were married to that original concept design, right? There are a lot of compromises there, and they stuck with it, and you've got to live with those now.
Because they don't show a width, they don't show any dimensions of the body. They show the overall width with folded mirrors. That's not a body width measurement, so I don't know what the total width there really is. But a Lightning is, you know, it's probably about the same width overall, but it's going to be, it's much more slab sided, so it's squarer, which is basically the thing that we see in Rivian's R1T. The Rivian R1T actually has a track width and width across from tire to tire. Really, that sectional width is about the same as a Lightning, but then the body pinches in drastically, and you have a much smaller truck inside and in the bed as a result. And on this one, we definitely see if the bed is just 4 feet wide, because they don't say, this is a different problem, but they don't say 49 inches or something. If the bed is exactly 4 feet wide, that's going to be a bummer to try and get actual 4 foot wide things in there, which is why like Ridgeline and Ranger are 49 inches wide between the wheel wells.
You need that little bit of wiggle room.
Yeah. So this I would assume is going to be closer to the new Ranger in terms of its bed dimensions.
Right. Well, I mean, and look, they're showing a roof rack basically in order to haul a kayak.
With a glass roof. And that roof rack is a bad idea.
That's an interesting slant to that roof rack too. Look at how that's hanging on.
Yeah.
Talk about catching the air with your whatever's up there.
Yeah, that's probably not going to help your efficiency.
No.
Any.
Do you guys think they're going to lose money at the prices that they're selling these at? Because stainless steel is not cheap, and you need a lot of it for a truck body. Plus the other technology in this vehicle, plus the big battery pack. Like, is 61,000 plus destination for the base model? Are they making money at that level? I mean, of
it's
course,
hard
the
to
Beast is $100,000
tell.
plus.
It's a little hard to tell because stainless steel is more expensive than carbon steel, but it's not necessarily more expensive than some of the ultra high strength steels that we see out there used in modern cars. Those aren't used in the surface, the skin of the vehicle, mind you, but we don't know what is under that stainless steel. Is this an aluminum framed sort of vehicle? Is it steel behind the stainless steel?
Well, it's more structurally rigid than a McLaren P1.
Yeah,
It has an
I'm assuming it's
exoskeleton.
aluminum under there because they're showing the castings for it, and those were all aluminum castings. So the logical assumption would be that it's an aluminum unibody somehow with these stainless steel panels bolted onto them.
Maybe it's like a Citroen DS, and you can quickly remove the fender or something.
Yeah, that would
because
probably
they wouldn't
be
make
the
the
most
structure
logical
out of
thing.
stainless. Like,
no, you couldn't really,
any
not
sense.
because you couldn't really form it like you'd want to.
Well, I mean, not without great difficulty, I'm sure, because like the DeLorean was obviously stainless steel.
It was.
But also fairly straight and boxy, right? It's pretty slab-sided.
Well,
but also in the 30s, very 80s styling. Ford made a run. There's the DeLorean, of course. Beautiful car, by the way. Ford in the 30s made a few trial samples of the 36 sedan out of stainless steel, which I believe 4 of them still exist, something like that. And so they were able to basically make the exact same stampings out of stainless. But I don't know if the dies were at the end of their life and they didn't care about damaging the stamping equipment or not, because I imagine it would be difficult to do. But stainless isn't necessarily new.
The other thing that I'm wondering about is because again, we have seen these aluminum castings. Now we know that there is a stainless steel body, but you cannot fasten stainless steel to aluminum without galvanic corrosion. So I'm not clear how everything is really going to be held together on this thing, which is the curious part.
Well, a lot of automakers have worked with aluminum and steel, like Jaguar, Land Rover, and you have to have an insulator material between them, right? Like a structural adhesive or something.
Yeah, it's as long as they're completely electrically isolated effectively. But this is also why most of the high aluminum content vehicles, there's really no steel going on there at all. Like Jaguar's XJ was so aluminum intensive that even the battery cables were aluminum.
Wow, that's crazy. Didn't know that.
Yeah, no copper battery cables in the XJs.
Cybertruck. Look at our news crawl. Look at that. We're like a professional organization now.
We're almost pros around here. So, speaking of pros, let's kind of wrap this up with answering probably one of the more important questions.
Pros professional or pros written word?
Pros is in, which is Brad's ultimate question. Well, it's more of a statement from him. Really don't feel like GM, Ford, and Stellantis have much to worry about. First off, do these other automakers have anything to worry about? How do you feel this truck fits in this segment of trucks? Is this going to appeal to an entirely different buyer that maybe would never be interested in trucks? Like, who's buying it, and should other truck makers be concerned?
They should be, not because of the product, but because of the cult of personality surrounding Tesla, because they can sell anything, it seems, to an eager and enthusiastic buyer group, whether the vehicle is actually better or not.
Well, and Teslas or I'm not sorry, not Tesla, but EVs are something like 8% now of mix. And most of those are Teslas, something like 90-94%. So they're going to sell these things. They are going to sell them. Are they going to be able to build enough of them to meet demand? What do you think, that kind of looks like? And then I'll ask all those questions back to Alex too. I mean,
yeah.
But
my turn now.
yeah, please.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry. Yes.
I'm going to go with that GM, Ford, and Stellantis don't have much to worry about. I would say that in this blend, maybe GM has more to worry about than the others, because I think this truck format seems closer to what we're seeing in the high level, trucks from the major three brands that they've got going on. Their Hummer, GMC, and Chevy. The higher end ones. I think that's kind of the same market there. More of a lifestyle focused truck in a way. I don't think that the Lightning, especially the commercial shoppers that are buying Lightnings for their fleets, etc., or necessarily the Stellantis one, we don't know its pricing yet, but I don't think that they have quite as much to worry about. The range extending truck is going to be its own unique little widget. I would also actually say that I don't think Rivian has that much to worry about. I think Rivian will be the bigger loser in a way if this thing really does take off sales wise. And I would say that because Rivian has now been proliferating the number of options and the pack sizes in the R1T finally, and it is so much better looking.
It is.
That I think is going to be the biggest challenge for the Cybertruck, is simply its aesthetic.
But nobody's buying Rivians for work, like kind of work truck stuff either. So the Rivian's probably the closest competitor to this.
And the Rivian is seemingly smaller. It's definitely shorter as far as its overall length.
Right.
It's more traditional truck-like in its flavor and profile and just general everythings. You can get the quad motor if you want bonkers, stupid acceleration. It is definitely very, very fast. This apparently will be the fastest production truck now, because that was the R1T. It looks like this will be that now. We don't have any direct comparisons, of course, because they're doing the 1 foot of rollout, and we got 2.8 seconds in the R1T quad motor with no rollout. So how that mixes, we don't know. But this pricing wise, this is right up there with the expensive options. I mean, they're not going to have a base truck for a whole year and a half, probably.
Right.
If
so
ever.
we'll probably be in second gen Lightning by the time this base truck goes on sale.
Because we're still waiting for like the Roadster, Tesla Roadster.
Yeah.
Where's that? Is the semi / tractor trailer out yet? I guess doesn't Pepsi have a few, but
yeah.
I'm just really, I think there's so many unknowns that obviously the initial early adopters, the Tesla fans, they're gonna dive right in, and they're like, you know what? The best part about its design is that I can't see the outside from the inside, so therefore doesn't matter.
You don't have to look at it when you're driving.
Yeah. And then I would say a year afterwards, where the more cautious shoppers might start questioning things. That's what I want to see. Like, what are the repair costs when you've been in a minor fender bender? What does the insurance look like on this? We all know that EVs are getting a reputation for being more expensive to insure. This is not going to help any of that. Like, you think it's hard to find a shop to work on your aluminum car? Try working on a stainless steel car. That's not going to be any different than the DeLorean era. That's going to be exactly the same thing, rinsed and repeated. But the reality is the average new car is purchased by someone that has the means to do it. So if you take a look at who's buying every new car in America right now, they're above average means people. So
I mean, what's the average transaction price? Close to 50.
Yeah.
Last I saw.
And if you look at the statistics, the limited statistics we've been able to get from some of these statistical outlets, the average new car is being purchased by someone that has double the national household income, single family home owning, etc. So you want to buy $100,000 truck and spend $10,000 a year on insurance. Hey, why not?
Why not?
They produced nearly 9,000 DeLoreans. And they sold a total of 6,681. So,
well, there's a company that builds new ones, if I remember correctly, from all the leftover parts.
Yeah, or they're trying to, at any rate.
And I know that John's son or daughter, I'm sorry, wants to revive DeLorean as an EV company as well. I've been seeing. Alex,
good luck.
Alex, thank you for coming on and spending your afternoon with us. I'm sure everybody that's still here knows how to find you, but if they don't, how do they find you?
Find us at the Auto Buyer's Guide, EV Buyer's Guide on Facebook, Twitters, the Instagrams, the Threads, the All of those things. All of those things, except for MySpace face. We don't have that anymore.
Does MySpace still work?
I don't
thought
know.
I heard somebody. It'd be kind of fun. We just some inside or some stuff for our regular viewers. We just launched channel memberships recently, $4.99 a month. Gives you early access to our content, some behind the scenes stuff, live streams, not like this one, but other live streams that we cut up. You can get all the original stuff there, and you can help support a good cause, which is us continuing to make content. And then maybe if we get enough of those, we can actually pay people like Alex to come on. So there you go. He's doing it for free. So yes, again, thank you, Craig, for coming on. Or I'm sorry, thank you, Alex.
You know what? You know what
Thank you,
happens,
Craig.
You know what
Thank you
happens when
also.
you get it for free? You get what you paid for.
You get what you pay for, and that is this high quality stuff here.
Did Alex bring his A game today?
No.
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 We'll get you the report card after the live show ends.
No. And then
he's
just a little
out of shot now.
Then a little teaser coming up in the next week or so. We recently attempted to visit all 5 Great Lakes in a single day in an EV, a Nissan Ariya, actually. Were we successful? Did we die? We didn't get dysentery though, because the added hook to it was
all of your oxen have died.
We we brewed a pot of coffee at each stop using lake water. So which lake water brew tastes the best? We'll never know until you watch when that comes out. So in the meantime, thank y'all. Happy holidays. Merry Festivus. We talked about Feast of Strength today.
Yeah.
So
Merry Christmas, Mahana Kwanzaa.